Bad boy.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? You have tuned in to the flyest sports and entertainment podcast in all the land. This is Stat Lines Matter. I'm your host, as always, Mr. Mark E. Stewart, here with my partner in crime, as always, Mr. Rob Hunter Jr. And Rob Hunter Jr. is definitely feeling all the good feelings and emotions that comes from being a back-to-back college football champion. So that's what's happened this week.
Yes.
You guys have locked in a second championship back-to-back years. And I think more importantly than anything, have established clearly that you are the preeminent program in college football. How does that feel?
I mean, it feels.
I mean, like you on the team.
Yeah.
As a fan, though, how does that feel?
It feels. It's very surreal because when I started rooting for Georgia some long time ago, Ray Goff was the coach. If that gives you any idea.
Yeah, Hines Ward. Wasn't Hines Ward on those early teams?
Hines Ward, Randall Godfrey, Greg Bright, Robert Edwards converted from DB to run him. Anyway, point is. When you saw the talent was there. Obviously, we're in a talent-rich region, the South, and watching the progression and just coming up so short for Mark Richt, his second season, and then it's very, very surreal because you want to be that, and then when you're that, a lot of times you sit around, like even last night, like the TCU game, like there was excitement. But to me, it felt like a foregone conclusion, like what was going to happen. And then when it starts happening that way, it's satisfying, but it's not as exciting as when you're the overwhelming favorite. It's almost better when you're on the rise. Like last year's championship against Alabama felt a lot better.
Yeah, fact.
Then obviously going back to back, first time in CFP history since this format. Well, we do know other programs have gone back to back. But it's very, it's surreal to be on top of the mountain. It almost doesn't feel real at some point, because it's like, Georgia's always the, come up short team.
100%. And I would
it's
say
David Tua, with the Hail Mary,
Tua Vailoa. Not David Tua was the body.
Oh, yeah, that's right. David Tua, the Hawaiian. I guess Tua is a Hawaiian as well. Yeah. But the point is him with the Hail Mary circling back, and then
we're not going to pull that film
how
up
does
again.
That? But think about that though for a quick second, like how close Kirby actually is to 3 championships.
Yeah,
because we were up by a field goal.
Yeah,
and then he hits that pass to Devonta Smith.
Well, there's a lot of especially when you playing late in postseason. There's a lot of things that could swing both ways. But what can't be argued with is, I think if maybe there's people in this region in the South where we reside that are afraid to say this because Saban is such a icon in this region, not necessarily in this state, but the region as a whole. But I think that Georgia's past Alabama. I don't know if a lot of people would agree with that. I'm pretty sure Georgia people would, but I'm saying overall throughout the SEC,
at least the last 2 years.
I think now, let's be clear, and we're not going to turn this into a recruiting show, but Alabama just put together what might be the greatest recruiting class in the history of recruiting. Unbelievable class, so many 5-star players, so many, I think 16 or 17 top 100 players. We just haven't seen anything like this. So look for them to bounce back. But that's all in response to the dominance of Georgia the last couple of years.
Yeah, as I was watching the game last night, so I was talking to a former Bulldog on Facebook, and he was like, I'm studying film right now. And I was like, why? He's like, they run a 3-3-5. I said, they can run a 5-5-5.
Yeah.
I said, they don't have the talent.
Yeah.
So they had 28% for 4 and 5 stars. TCU, Georgia had 80%.
Yeah.
4 and 5 stars. And as I was watching the game, I'm like, this Texas Christian. But whatever relationship they had with God, it don't seem to be, they need to call on him or something.
Yeah, they didn't.
They didn't look like, it looked like it was like, God, I will smite thee. And they were getting smited.
One of the craziest things that I saw.
Smited a word?
One of the craziest things that I saw, at SoFi, there's if you've never been there or you don't know, it's a covered stadium, but the sides are out. So
I didn't know that.
So you feel the elements from outside, but never the weather, never the elements onto the playing surface. But the rain was coming in because it was raining in LA, which is rare. The rain was coming in and raining only on the Texas Christian fans, like just in the section. Because it was like, if you looked at the game, it was mostly Georgia fans, but there was a sort of a little section that was mostly Texas Christian, and they got rained on the field, and then they got rained on in the stands.
Gosh, what that's deflating. So now you wet.
Yeah.
In a stadium that's supposed to be covered.
Yeah.
And y'all getting emasculated.
Yeah. And they actually did get emasculated.
Yeah, the season for the Bulldogs started the way it began, against another top 10 opponent in a blowout. Started that way with Oregon. And they handled their business, and then it ended that way. And that's like, I believe, the fourth or fifth top 10 team that Georgia's beat this year. So, from Tennessee.
I actually don't believe that Texas Christian is one of the 10 best teams in the country.
Well, but no, they're not.
Yeah,
they're not. And I think that was we had that discussion extensively.
Yeah.
Through text.
Yeah.
About the top teams and et cetera. No, they shouldn't have.
Well, I think what it does, particularly as we are stepping to the new playoff format with 12 teams, I think we have to.
When is that going to effect?
I think year after next.
I can't wait.
But I think what has to happen is there has to be some scheduling minimum guidelines to qualify for the playoffs, because this idea of, well, we won our league, which is fine. Everybody's got a top and middle and a bottom.
They didn't win their league though,
and they didn't. But in the playoff format, all the conference champions get
automatic bid.
Get automatic
in the new one.
In the new one.
That's fair.
Well, it's fair if there's unified scheduling guidelines with respect to out-of-conference games. Like, what I'd like to see, and I mean this from everybody, I mean from the SEC on down to the weakest conferences, out-of-conference games I think everybody should get one gimme game that you play at the first game of the season. And if you want that to be FCS, if somebody wants to play HBCU, if you want to play South Dakota State, you get that out first week. And then after week one, every game got to at least be, if you're a Power 5, got to at least be in the Power 5. Like, at least that way there's some, because what happened with Michigan and how they scheduled, and TCU sort of overall I'm not going to say TCU scheduled soft. They played in their league, but we also have to look at and weigh, does their league and the wins in their league measure up to the wins in other leagues? Mm-hmm. And we got to be able to add in factors other than just record if there's not sort of a uniform scheduling requirement.
There needs to be a strength of schedule component that has certain, I guess, stop gaps.
But even strength of schedule can be misleading, because strength of schedule is just on, you beat a 10-1 team. But if the 10-1 team ain't beat nobody,
right? You
know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's got to be like, there has to be like a certain amount of games against, I don't know, top 50, like power index, like. But
something. How do you do that if you predetermine the schedule?
I think
because the teams be sorry.
No, yeah. And look. Sometimes teams don't live up to what they're supposed to. But there has to at least be some unified guidelines. But
you know what, though? In your defense, or in the defense of that idea, if that's let's say that happened. Let's say you did try to do that, but your schedule just doesn't meet it because the teams aren't that great. If you win your league, you're still going. So there's still an opportunity for you to get in. We're talking about more of the at-large bids.
Yeah, we're talking about at-large, and we're talking about
it can work still.
But we're also saying, as a pre-qualifier, I don't want to see teams.
You got to make an effort on your schedule.
Yeah, you should get like one Central Michigan, and that's it.
Central Michigan.
Or you should get one Citadel, or you should get one, like, whatever. Like, that's it. It shouldn't be two Citadels, or, you know what I mean? Like, you got a Citadel and a William and Mary. Like you can't, especially when I don't like in the SEC that second to last game, like most of the SEC schools schedule one of those type of games in that spot. I don't care for that at all. once you're in the play, everyone should be in the play. Now, obviously, SEC will make the argument, well, our league is tough, and but what I'm advocating for.
That's not an argument. That's the truth.
Yeah, but what I'm advocating for is the same scheduling minimum guidelines for everybody. So at least the committee's not getting tricked by going, well, this resume is 11-1, and this resume is 10-2, but the resumes are not the same. Like Michigan's resume, they had one good win
total,
but and they got exposed when they played a very weak TCU team and got handled. So
2 years in a row.
So why reward them? Just make them step up. Make them play a tougher schedule.
I agree. I feel that way about the entire Big Ten. But I think that that's actually a good. Well, and here's the thing. That's why I'm glad it's expanding. And I've heard some other talk shows talk about this, and it was like it's just going to end up. Well, the possibility, like, okay, so let's say TCU beats Kansas State.
They're not going to work through 3 games.
But on the other side of that is going to be Bama waiting for them.
Yeah.
And then Bama beats them, and then Georgia. Let's say if we beat Ohio State, whoever it is, then they'll end up playing each other again. So they were just kind of like, be careful what you wish for on the expansion. But what it does do is gives teams an opportunity to be at. It eliminates the argument that the same teams are in it all the time. Last year there was some SEC fatigue in the college football playoffs. So this year half the Big Ten was in there.
Yeah.
And so now you other and then of course. Alabama, they made the argument we'd be favored against all those teams except for Georgia. Probably true. Now Alabama will get a chance to, get back into it. So I think that I love the expansion because I think just more games and more things for me to watch. I was a little sad yesterday because that was the last game.
Yeah.
I love college football. It's my favorite, sport to watch, and I'll miss it. It's pretty cool that Georgia, was back-to-back champion. Of course, you get a chance to end it like that, but it still was bittersweet to see it in.
Yeah, no, it always is. I was telling somebody that the other day, when you get to this point where the NFL ends its natural season, they go to playoffs, and now the college is over. It's just
the emptiness of Saturday. Though.
Yes,
like because I sit in for those that if you're just now listening to the show for the first time, Mark and I have setups in our homes where we watch multiple games, and particularly Saturday is the day that I just don't move. It starts at noon, and then they have several slates. Noon, some games start at 12:30. They have a 1 o'clock. Obviously, the bigger slates are at 3 and 3:30.
Yeah,
your primetime games. But you can say that. But Michigan and Ohio State has started at noon forever. So there's big games all the way throughout. Then you have the evening slate starts at 7:30, and then you have a late slate if you want it. Your UNLVs, your Nevadas, Hawaii, like all of those teams started, around 10:30. So, and I'm there for it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm sad and that it's over, but I'm also excited that I'm unhooking all my DirecTV because DirecTV is no longer in control of the NFL.
So what's the move?
I mean, I have to get with my guy and redesign, but it's not going to include. I'm DirecTV. I want to come take them satellites off my roof, everything.
Yeah. We are Hulu, Amazon, Peacock. We're basically paying the same. Right?
Yeah, I mean, well, the new NFL Sunday Ticket is going to be delivered through YouTube TV, which I use.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
They've already decided it?
Yeah. You didn't see that?
Yeah, you supposed to tell me.
Where you been?
Look, man. Where
you been at?
Yeah, YouTube TV.
Yeah, YouTube TV is gonna have it.
Hey, shout out. Hey, we coming.
Yeah, we coming. Right.
You want to sponsor the show?
No, so I'm excited about that. Just only because DirecTV has
it's terrible technology,
awful customer service. I don't have as much issue with the technology because it.
Hey, they streaming is whack.
Really?
Yeah. So my wife, her parents have it. It's
okay.
Whack.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
I don't like streaming at all. But
I mean, listen. Streaming is the way.
Yeah, but the rewinding and it doesn't work the same as the boxes do.
You got to. Yeah, I've been off of it for a couple years. I only have DirecTV for football.
Yeah, the rewinding, it doesn't. It takes a lot of time to sync. And what I discovered is, which is whack, you can't put on like I couldn't put on all the feeds for the Georgia game because it's streaming, right? So let's say Skycam is ahead, then you got this, and they're never synced up.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing about streaming. Like when you get on the phone, like I'll be calling my brother, and he'll be like not a half a beat ahead.
Yeah,
he'll be like 4 beats ahead, like oh, and then like 5 seconds later, you're like oh, like
in the same. But it'll be we've had that in the same house.
You got to just watch that one.
Yeah,
that one game.
Yeah, so it's they got to work that out.
They do. So I want to talk a little bit of NBA. We'll get into a heavier NBA conversation next week. Now that college football's cleared out,
okay, and
we NFL playoffs, so there's less games to talk about. So we're gonna ramp up our NBA discussion. But I at least want to touch on two programs that always, or two organizations, I should say, that always get a lot of play on our show. And pretty much everyone else's, the Lakers, LeBron James, and his crew of guys.
The Lakers.
And then on the East Coast, Kevin Durant, the Brooklyn Nets, and those guys. And I remember, before we went on our hiatus, you made a content piece. I think at the time, Brooklyn and the Lakers had maybe one win between them.
They had strong, but then they had strong like two.
Yeah.
And we're coming back.
Yeah. But since that time, Nash got ran. Jacques Vaughn got hired as a coach in Brooklyn. The Lakers have started to play better. And I haven't really heard anybody necessarily connected to this, but I think, what's the guy's name? Schroeder?
Dennis
Schroeder?
Dennis Schroeder, yeah. German.
Since he's come back, they've started to play a lot better, and have pulled themselves. They lost to Denver this week, but they've gotten themselves back in position to at least even up at 500, which is a place that team hasn't seen in well over a calendar year. They started off underwater this year. They spent most of last year underwater, but now they're playing well, and they're doing so without Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Balenciaga himself. So it stands to reason, or at least the question pops up in my mind: how is it going to be when AD gets back and just sort of blends in? Because he was playing out of his mind before he got hurt.
Right.
So a lot of arrows were pointing up in Los Angeles. What's your thoughts about them? Because I know you're a LeBron guy, you're a Laker guy, you're a big Laker fan, representing I Would in the building. You know what I'm saying?
I would.
What's your thoughts about the Lakers, and do you feel like in turning it around, are they? I don't think in any way that they're a contender, but what is turning it around? What's the best case scenario for them in your view?
Well, just looking at the recent, I guess, winning streak before last night, which LeBron didn't play last night, but I'm not. What they did was they beat a lot of teams that they should have beat. Right. The Kings was their only team that.
That was a good win.
That was a good win, but they gave up 134 points.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Hornets. They beat the Hawks. They beat the Magic. These are all teams that they should beat. Right.
But they have been losing to those.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. They have been losing to those teams in the past. The last 3 games, they averaged giving up 123 points on the season. They have a net rating of -1, so they're averaging, I believe, 116.7 points a game. They're giving up close to 118 a game, and this is over the season. Now, when AD plays, they're giving up 112. That's better than the Boston Celtics. So when he plays, obviously he's going to make a difference defensively, and I believe they're just treading water. But you don't have to be anything, but just analyzing what they've been doing over the last couple of games. There's a lot to be said for momentum. So yes, it's good that it's good for them that they've been winning. But the teams, they're still only 1-7 in their own division, and that's where. Obviously, you have to win.
Yeah, they came and got fat in the East at the bottom.
Yes.
Because I actually think the East at the top is as strong as the East as the West at the top, but I think the bottom of the East can be weaker at times.
Sure,
you know what I mean. Like
with your Pacers
even though the records are better, it's really because everyone's average and they're beating each other up.
Sure,
I think there's better teams at the bottom, but some teams have played in bad luck on the Western Conference side. One of the things that I think is helping the Lakers is the fact that the Jazz have been in a little bit of a free fall since. Like the Jazz was kind of interesting story because they were kind of like a team of guys that were brought together through trades.
No, they're in the Watanabe race, and they started winning.
Oh, you would know Watanabe is a place for Brooklyn, but you're talking about
no, I'm not.
Yeah, you're talking about the.
No, I'm not talking about Babalu, the French guy.
Yeah, the French guy.
Not Watanabe, the guard.
There were times when Utah was Utah was at the top.
Yes, that's my point. Like,
and now they're just sinking.
Yeah, they're like, wait a minute, what's up?
You got Jordan Clarkson out here getting his dukes up. Like he's
been getting
Jack
his dukes
Johnson
up for quite a while.
No, he really has.
Yeah.
Like I saw a meme on his history, but I think them going that way is helping the Lakers just in terms of because I was thinking that with the hole that they created for themselves, it was going to be hard to jump all those teams because they were all playing. You know, even if they just played to their capabilities, it wasn't going to be enough for them to come up above all those teams. But right now, I think they're sitting at like 10th, just inside the play-in.
And that's a look. A lot of momentum. You want it. Again, I've been saying this on this show for a very long time. It's all about defense versus, obviously point score. And normally what you're going to see is the teams that are in the top 5, 3, obviously the closer as you get towards playoff times, those are the teams that you normally see in the finals. So, and in the Lakers, I guess if there could be a defense built, no pun intended, the Boston Celtics were toward the bottom half of the league last year, approaching the All-Star break. And obviously they turned it around, were able to make a run and made it to the finals. Same thing with the Golden State Warriors. They both ratcheted up their defense the closer the playoffs came around. I don't know if that was by intention. I don't know why that worked out the way that it did, but generally the teams that are playing the best defense entering in the month of May, June, those are the teams that go deep, that go deep because defense, it translates.
Yeah.
If you want to look at all the rings, including the bubble ring, the Lakers had the best defense going into the bubble, and the preceding Golden State, all of its titles, they were a top 2, top 1 defensive team, and if you want to look at a hallmark, if you want to look at something to base your predictions on, just go to look at points given up and defensive efficiency, and you'll find that generally in the month closer to April, not now, but the closer to April, May, you'll see, because it's like health, right? And I know, we're going to talk about your favorite team coming up, but you got to be healthy going into those April and those May months, So
yeah, and obviously health is a big thing. It's interesting that you speak about defensive efficiency because I think that has a lot to do with the resurgence of the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they've won, I want to say like 19 of 21 or 18 of 20, something like that. They had an amazing month. But they now have defensive efficiency at or near the top 10, which is really, really, believe it or not, they had actually regressed defensively from last year to the beginning of this year. And I think that had a lot to do with why they got Nash up out of there. And since then, since Jacque Vaughn's come in, they've just been playing better defense. And I don't have the numbers. I'm not going to try to support it in the way he would, but in watching the games, they get stops. They make the other team work for baskets. They close out on threes, things that they weren't doing at the beginning of the year. And obviously a healthy Ben Simmons helps with that. And Jacque Vaughn has not been afraid to put certain guys with names on the bench in exchange for guys whose names you don't know as well, who play better defense. He goes with better defensive teams, and then he leans on Durant and Kyrie for the scoring, and then they have some shooting in that second unit. So, but for the most part, they're winning. I don't want to say they're winning because of defense, because obviously they're great offensive players, but they're winning because they've put an emphasis on defense, something that they have never done under the previous coach.
Well, I mean, but the numbers support that. And we talked about this extensively the past, 3 years. When they got Harden, I made the argument, the offense isn't the problem. the defense has been the problem. And when you sub out Harden for
Simmons.
Ben Simmons, a guy who plays terrific defense, one of the best on-ball defenders in the league, technically for me, from my roster composition, that's an upgrade. Meaning Harden, because I've got Kyrie and I've got Durant.
Yeah,
I don't need James Harden. I need more defense. So it's supposed to be better, and they have been playing better defense this season. They're fifth in points given up in the entire league, and over the last 3, they've given up 108 points. The problem for them now is the thing that was never a problem is now they're sort of going to be in that Laker position where half of your dynamic duo is going to be out.
right.
You got Durant averaging 36 and 5.
Yeah,
and 30 points. 6 assists, 5 boards, I believe, somewhere around. Oh, you could flip those 2 numbers of the assist and rebounds. Yeah. But the point that I'm making is that now you're going to have to try to figure out. Now, the difference is, though, right, they've built up a nice lead. They won't drop.
Yeah, they're not going to drop into the play-in. Yeah,
but this is his other knee. Last year, I believe it was his left knee. This year, it's his right. Yeah. Or vice versa. So it's the MCL. And I believe the third knee injury in total when Pachulia, I believe, fell into him.
Yeah. They say this one is not, they don't believe this one is as serious.
Yeah. And when the good part about it is, when he gets back, it'll be plenty of time.
It won't be. March. Yeah. They say they're thinking 4 weeks. So even 4 weeks from now puts him in, sort of mid.
But if they can play this kind of defense, though, and even maybe a little bit better.
All they're trying to do is just maintain.
Well, what I'm just saying, even when he gets back, right, because you want to be trending in the right direction when he gets back. So, and they've already been able to build at least, I believe they worked out some of the kinks, at least as it relates to Ben Simmons.
Right.
Because he's the key. If you get Ben Simmons that was in Philly 3 seasons ago, then they're the favorite to come out of the East. Hands down.
And the thing is, I don't even think he's given you much on the offensive end, but at least he's back to playing downhill. He's back to going to the basket. He's shooting his layups and getting his dunks from here and there. But there's no pressure for him to score. So if he gets 6 and 10 rebounds and 8 assists, it's a great.
Oh yeah, and then the defense though.
Yeah, and he's making his bones on the defense. Man, I think where they will miss Durant, believe it or not, is they're going to miss his defense. He's actually been playing really good, inspired defense. And I actually think that Kevin Durant was never a bad defender.
He was never bad.
He was never a bad defender. But I think he's playing good defense and in impact defense. And I think they're going to miss that because he is long. He does, when he's motivated, he challenges shots. And, that's going to have to be made up for in addition to his scoring. So I haven't looked at the upcoming schedule to be able to see what kind of action they got coming up. But I would hopefully, if the schedule falls their way, they can get some games that they can find their way through. I was impressed the way they played, and it was only a quarter and 3 minutes, but they were down when he got hurt in the game. I think they were down by like 9 or 11, and the other team came back.
They've got. I'm looking at it now. They've got Boston, their very next game. Okay. 2 winnable games in Oklahoma and San Antonio, and Phoenix, Utah, Golden State, Philly. So
you try to go 500 out of
that. Yeah.
You try to get 500 out of them next 6.
How close is Curry to coming back?
He should be close because I think he was a 4-week injury.
Yeah.
So he's got to be close to that.
Yeah. And AD actually is supposed to start rehab. They should have him by
Balenciaga
by the end of the month. That's the reports coming.
Mr. Custom Balmain.
Jeez.
Listen,
give me a break.
The one thing about the Lakers that's a challenge.
The tallest supermodel in the world.
Yes, and fresh braids, fresh eyewear, fresh wristwear with diamonds in them. Like that's he's got all that going. The issue with the Lakers is still going to be health. Over the last 3 or 4 years, LeBron's missed 20 games. He hasn't missed but like 2 or 3. So you feel like he's due. AD got hurt early, so there's so many games to be played that he might be due for another foot or whatever. He just injuries just
measuring it to the watch.
Injuries just, and I'm not trying to put no evil on the brother, but I'm just saying injuries tend to just find him. He's just one of those guys that falls funny and whatever. And then it's like, and it's not like life-changing injury.
You can get
It's
a
just
supplement or something.
it's 12 games. It's
take some
10
vitamins.
games. It's 2 months.
You got all that
But
money.
as you get later into the year, it becomes more impactful. So like you saw with Boston last year, if you're going to get hurt early and then get guys healthy. And
But I think the health of Robert Williams played a big effect in their success and eventually, their failure later on in the series, man.
Yeah.
So
Is he even right now?
I think he's close, but no. But if they can get him back close to,
Yeah. Is his issues chronic or he just got
it's been chronic, It's been that way because I think you remember he didn't even start when he first got drafted. Like he wasn't out there.
Yeah, that's right. Well, listen, we're going to come and talk a little bit heavier NBA, get more around the league next week. I want to talk I want to bring back, because we get a lot of calls. First of all, we get tons of calls like, where you guys been? And, we're on holiday hiatus, all stuff, kind of stuff going on. But we're back better than ever. So we wanted to bring back, I do get calls about, our various segments and stuff. So I figured a way for us to wrap up the regular season NFL was to have that discussion within the context of one of our favorite bits on the show, Heaven or Hell, where you and I discuss whether or not a person is going to make it to heaven or hell based on their deeds. And so what we're going to do to sort of incorporate NFL into this is we're going to have a Heaven or Hell segment, NFL 2022 season edition.
All right, so I missed the NFL portion. So I have 3, one of which is a football player. So we'll mix those in. Yeah, I missed that in the notes. Okay. I'm sorry, everybody.
See, Heaven or Hell NFL season edition.
You just typed that in there.
No, that's a copy from the text I sent you. It's a direct copy.
Hey, I guess this is the time where you go to the flag on the play.
Yeah.
And do the,
I'll pull it up.
No, I'm kidding. So I was reading it too fast, but let's get into it.
No, either way, it's all good. You go first.
All right. So
you ask me and I'll answer.
Okay. So it's still a football, but
okay.
Kirby Smart, Heaven or Hell. I think that he's from the South and he knows the reverence that we have for the church and Christianity. And I think, him running up the score on Texas Christian, I thought was
He's asking for it.
He's asking for it. And I think he's going to have to answer for that on Judgment Day. He ran the score up on Texas and their Christians. 58 points. There was no
65.
I'm saying they won by 58.
Yeah.
Yeah, 60. Oh, 60 in the 65.
Going for it on 4th and 5.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, that is. So I'm like, hey, you're a great coach, but in any other team without the word Christian in it might be all right. But that's the Lord's. Some version of the Lord's team. Texas Christian.
All teams
University.
are the Lord's team.
How do you? Yeah, but I mean, they went out their way to name their university Christian University. It's really
there's
Christian.
a lot of people out here calling themselves Christians.
It's really Christian University though, because Texas is just where it's at. It's really you ran a score up on Christian University.
I don't think he's going to hell for that.
Really?
No.
Do you think that there's going to be?
I actually think he's going to heaven because when you win back to back, God loves winning.
He loves winners.
He loves winning. He loves winners.
So you don't think he's going to ask like, "Hey, what's up with that 4th and 5, man?" On my that's my university.
No. I listen. I have my issues with Kirby, but they have more to do with the fact that even though, like, I know I know guys that he's played with, and he looks like he could be their father. My issue with Kirby is the fact that he looks like he was born in the 40s.
And he also kept our friend, my best friend, Walker Actress from starting.
Yes.
While they were at Georgia.
But I know that
we used to hate, man, why Kirby out there?
But a dude, because Stroud and Seymour and those guys, those are all in the same era, right?
Marcus Stroud, yeah. Well, Marcus Stroud was 1 year after, but yes,
yeah. Kirby looked like he could have coached them, and they were teammates. That's my issue with Kirby. Why you look so old?
All right, so you say heaven for Kirby?
If you're putting Kirby in the conversation,
that's Jesus' team.
If you're putting Kirby in the conversation,
Christian University.
Kirby's going to heaven. Because every team is God's team.
Yeah, but
every team got a chapter.
Every team don't name.
Every team got a chapter.
Whole university Christian.
like I said, there's a lot of people out here putting Christian behind their names.
But
we don't know how they live over there.
But I'm saying, well, okay, we don't. But what we do know is they proclaiming it.
That's facts. I'm not sending them to hell for that.
You ain't sending them for hell.
No, sir.
But do you think that at least the Lord's gonna be like, man, what's up with that fit? Why you?
No, because I said
they're not even gonna discuss it.
God loves winning. He's a winner. He's the ultimate winner.
What do you say, Kirby Smart, heaven or hell? Seth, the producer.
He looks like he might be in the Ku Klux Klan.
And there it is. All right, I'm going. Wait, I just lost.
Look like he might be a card carrying member.
So my first, and I think we're going to agree on this one. Zach Wilson, quarterback, New York Jets. So he's going to hell, and I just want to kind of walk out some of the things.
So you just declaring it already.
Well, I'm declaring it because we all know if you watch it is a sports show. So if you watch sports, you already know that he stinks. So that's hell worthy. Just being nasty,
just not being good at your job,
being good at your job and good at sports, and going as high as you did. Then when they asked him in the game, they asked him after the game, "Do you feel responsible for in a game? I think he put up one touchdown or 3 points. Do you feel responsible?" He was like, "Nah,
absolutely not." I think he said absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And then I also believe, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he the one that slept with his best friend's mom or his mom's best friend?
Dax Milne. Dax Milne.
We talked about that on the show.
Yeah.
So he's got that going, and he wears that goofy headband.
Yeah, like Cobra Kai.
Yeah, that's hell worthy.
Like Cobra Kai.
Especially because
your boy Jimmy Clausen.
But headbands are for, like, if you can pull it off and you playing and you slinging touchdowns and you Jim McMahon, I'm cool. Jimmy Clausen threw touchdowns at Notre Dame. Zach Wilson wears a headband, doesn't deserve to.
That is true. Like, if you got a headband on, you supposed to be a badass.
He's supposed to be hard.
You supposed to be a badass.
Yeah.
And probably at least be like a brown belt in karate.
And if you throw a pick in the preseason for a touchdown and then you get hurt, just take the headband. Just take it off. And set it off to the side. Feel like you never even had it.
I'm just gonna slide this off. Yeah, I think anytime when you go out and have a performance like that, yes, that's bad. But I think how he handled it,
yes,
where he was like, yeah, it's not, and you're the leader, right?
Yes.
You're the lead. Quarterback is the de facto CEO, at least of the operations portion.
He's
of
a
the
face.
team,
Yeah,
right?
he's a face.
He's the face, and for him to handle it, I think is hell worthy.
Yeah,
I think he got to go. He may not have to stay, but he need to go down there for a little while.
You don't get to leave after you start burning. If you burn it, you burn it. You burn it in hell.
But I just think that's for permanent damnation. You know what I'm saying? He's still young. He got a chance of redemption.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? But I think he should go down there for a little while and be like, hey, if you don't get your act together.
Feel the heat.
Yeah, feel the heat. Some like it. Yeah, anyway.
What is it?
Some like it hot. You know?
Oh.
Peter Gabriel.
Yeah. Is that Peter Gabriel?
Yeah. Some like it hot.
No, that was the Power Station.
The Power Station.
Yeah.
Well, one of them.
We are clearly up on our white music.
Hey, you know, we go way upfield.
Yeah, we went.
That's the Power Station, really?
I'm pretty sure.
Some like it hot.
Yeah.
That's Seth. Some like it hot. It probably is the Power Station. I'm gonna have to, because I would have known if it was Peter Gabriel, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, because that's Addicted to Love, right?
Yeah, Addicted to Love. Yeah.
Peter Gabriel. Yeah. So who we got?
Yeah, that was Bernard Edwards. That's Focus that produced that.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And Nile Rodgers.
And Power Station.
I believe. Hold on, let me see.
Some like
Power
it
Station,
hot
yeah.
when
That's
it's
good.
hot.
Hey,
when
listen,
the
y'all.
heat is on.
For y'all don't know, listen. This is my business, so I do know. I knew that was Power Station because I was just like an '80s nerd.
That's fire though.
1985.
All right, I'm going. All right, I'll go next. Okay, so Anthony Davis.
Okay.
Has missed 96 games.
In how many years?
Season, 3 years. So a whole season. He missed 36.
That's the whole season and a Laker playoff run.
42 last year and 18 so far this year. And it's not necessarily to me just on the games miss, but it's his demeanor.
He be happy.
It looked like he won. He called in a radio station and be a Laker for a day, like on the bench. Like he came, man, look at LeBron, he right there. Like he doesn't look like he's melancholy enough. Like even if you feel great about whatever's going on, when you pull up to the Staples Center, you're supposed to just look sad.
It's our business.
Like I'm sad I ain't out there with y'all.
He be walking to the bench in his clothes, looking up.
Yeah,
looking up in the stands.
Like I wish. Yeah. You supposed to be looking like, man, I hate being on this bench. I wish I could be out here with y'all.
You put me in now. I go in my dress clothes.
So excited to have that seat and to be that close.
And he looks. And I've said this on.
I can sit here for free.
I've said this before. I'm gonna say it again. He looks like, and particularly on that first game after he got hurt, he looks like he was in fittings all day leading up to the game. Like because this man is 7 feet tall. He's got designer clothes on. Everything's custom. He's in fittings. He's in mad fittings.
Mad fittings. He's standing up. He's standing up on the platform and don't need to stand on the platform.
Arms out
like this with the measuring tape.
Yes, just in there going okay.
And he on the AirPod talking to people like
he's holding swatches of materials. Like he's touching. Oh, I love that. It's so soft against my skin.
Yeah, that's gonna work.
Yeah, that's
gonna work right there. Yeah,
and can you do that in black? Can you make that in white and black?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, can somebody bring me some wine?
Yes. That's AD on the injury reserve.
And I don't even mind that. But when you get up to the Staples Center, you're supposed to look like man.
So you sending him to hell for that?
I'm sending his ass. Man, 96 games, 96. Hell yeah. Get your ass down there. And you ain't coming back up.
Wow.
Because you've been doing this since the Pelicans. That was the whole thing with him coming to the Lakers. Like, is he going to play? Is he going to stay healthy? Is he going to, you know? And I think that was like basically hitting the lottery for him to stay healthy through that one playoff run and them actually win the ring. Because I don't necessarily know if they're going to be able to bring that. If he gets back,
right,
they need to trade him. And I said that before the beginning of the season, they should have traded AD.
Right.
So anyway, So Seth, heaven or hell for AD? You think he's going to heaven? He looking mad joyous on the sideline. He's leaving his brothers out there to fight without him, alone. LeBron is like 92 years old, playing 96 minutes a night.
He played before and after the game.
Yeah, why you over there talking about some?
Yeah. You know and the time to get your hair braided in that fashion.
Yes, and all them designs, all them twisted ways and stuff.
It takes time.
And he don't ever seem like he in a bad mood.
Like get some shots up.
Like I'm just saying, on the bench, you see him in some of his candid stuff outside. He's always smiling. Yeah,
he's
always jovial.
He's affable.
He don't even look like he's from Chicago.
Nah, he don't.
He don't even look like he's from just wherever them Duke players be from.
Hilarious. Okay, so let me give you my next one. The Houston Texans front office.
Definitely hell. But go ahead. Sorry.
And I agree. This is a team that's traded away a lot of their best talent.
Definitely hell.
I think someone told me that they've made a coaching change every year, 4 years in a row.
Really? Has it been that? Because I won't feel as Black Power lovey if that's the case. If they normally filing people,
I'm gonna check that because I heard that.
But I feel like Bill O'Brien got like a few years. Yeah, look that up right fast. Damn Texans, they mess up everything. Trading away this person.
So you had they've had
every year.
So
that's part of the failure.
So wait, Romeo Crennel was their coach.
In
2020. So they went from Bill O'Brien.
How long was he? How many long?
He was for 6 years.
Okay.
Or 7 seasons.
That's too long.
6 years.
He should have been fired 1 year.
So it went Bill O'Brien, Romeo Crennel, David Culley, and then Lovie Smith.
And then
there's going to be another, 2021, 2022.
So what is the logic behind these hires?
Well,
one and done.
Well, this is why they're on my hell list, because this is a team that got in trouble. First of all, they got a weird front office anyway. After the patriarch of their organization, I think it's Bob McNair is his name. Bill McNair, Bob McNair when he died.
McNair.
when he passed away, it's been madness, and some of the madness started when he was there. When you hear stories about the front office having issues with DeAndre Hopkins, I don't want to say illegitimate children because I don't believe children are illegitimate, but him having children outside of America.
Is that politically correct?
Yeah, I don't.
They're moving stuff.
Yeah, wedlock is old school. Wedlock.
He didn't have them children out of wedlock, and it's always a woman saying it.
Yeah. But I think there was issues with that, and then so Lovie Smith, and then I think they got sued. They were named in the Brian Flores suit. Because I don't think they interviewed any minority candidates, so then they threw Lovey in there on some bullshit.
And they hired him.
And then but that's what I'm saying.
With that
they put him in there.
beard. Lovey's beard is dumb. Shave that shit. What are you doing?
Yes.
Why are you doing? You look like an old elf. Shave that shit.
He look like Black Santa.
Nah, he in charge of the elves. Nah, he ain't no saint. He like in charge of he the oldest elf.
But so they did all that, and like I said, they traded away some of the best players, Tunzel,
Laramie,
DeAndre, and Deshaun, and they ran Deshaun up out of there. They didn't stand with him through his trials and tribulations, which
there's a lot of trials.
A lot of trials.
Well, actually, none of them went to trial, but it was trying.
I think maybe they were justified.
Deshaun.
Maybe they were justified.
And then you need to go to hell, Deshaun, for messing up my fantasy. But anyway,
right, and well, I think a lot of people kind of took out of context that he would be rusty.
Well, I was hoping with the 2 games leading into the playoffs that he'll have would that be enough? Would that be enough? And I was just anyway. That's fantasy talk. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that is what it is. I'd seen earlier an amazing stat on Lovey. Lovey's record.
Gosh, Lovey.
Lovey's coached 3 NFL teams, which not a lot of coaches have done.
And he's taking some money.
And he's taking a lot of money
out of this whole game, including Illinois.
Yes, and he got extensions in Illinois, and in Chicago.
And with the Bears,
Yes. Yeah. So he's gotten pay raises. But outside of Chicago,
he had a great tenure in Chicago,
success.
But definitely fell short of.
I think his winning percentage at University of Illinois was 3.
But he had some big wins,
and he had a top defense. He just didn't have any.
He had some big.
I would have loved to
man.
see him with that team with the transfer portal because he got the defensive side of the ball right.
Can he recruit?
He did a decent job.
But because in order to get somebody out the transfer, you still gotta be able to recruit.
Yeah, it is. It's second level recruiting.
Yeah.
It's a whole other thing now. So I'm putting Houston Texans front office for all their deeds. I'm putting them in hell.
Yeah, they first, and again, they don't get to come back like Zach.
And I think that's why. And here's the last thing too. So if what I read was correct, that they sat down with Lovie Smith last week, told him that he wasn't coming back. So then when Lovey got into this game, he coached the game. I think it was a no-brainer for him to go for 2 and try to get the 2 to be like, what do I care? You know what I mean? And get them. So now they're picking number 2. It might have to give up some draft capital if they have an eye on a specific player and move up to number 1. So there's that. So they're out of there for me.
All right. So this is my last one. And this is Dana White.
Yes.
First, I have 3 points of contention. The first point is going after other fighters' wives, smashing other fighters' wives. He's been known to fancy women that have been that are already spoken for, and this has been a well documented thing. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's not whatever.
Unlocking the
wedge. Unlocking the wedge.
He unlocking the wedge.
He's picking the lock.
Yeah.
On the wedge. He like, look, if you gonna give me that thing, I give you man in a couple more fights.
Exactly.
I put him on a couple more cars. What leverage? Anyway, the second thing is the second thing is underpaying fighters.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
He underpays his fighters, and that's been well documented. People have been trying to take more money. Obviously, the top guys make their bread, but overall, the UFC fighters are underpaid. And the last thing, and the most damning thing, smacking up his wife
At the club.
at the club on New Year's.
Yeah.
Smacked her all the way up.
Yeah.
Laid hands
Yeah.
on his in public.
Yeah. He was like Nino Brown. Remember they was kicking it, him and G Money, and he.
Yeah.
No, not after when he put the champagne on her.
Yeah. So
Like Nino.
I can't believe that this not a bigger story for him to be, and it's footage of it. It's footage of him whooping on. They had to be separated. He whooping on your
I don't
woman.
know why. I think I'm gonna walk lightly with this. I think he was fortunate to have his story be out and sort of cross over. I don't know exactly what happened when, but that story sort of crossed over with some other things that were going on in the world of sports, and particularly with my man from Buffalo getting hurt. I know that happened a little bit later.
It did, like 2 weeks later.
It wasn't 2 weeks later.
Because this was New Year's.
Right, that was New Year's Eve, and
Yeah.
he got hurt last Monday.
So how long ago was that?
So last Monday was like the 3rd,
Okay.
right?
I stand
Or the
correct.
2nd.
I stand
No,
correct.
last Monday was the 2nd.
Okay.
Right, because there was, because today's the 10th.
Today's the 10th.
So
10th.
last Tuesday was the 3rd, so
Third.
last Monday was the 2nd. So,
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah. Good
right
call.
in that crossover,
Feels long.
like there was a major sports story that took all of our attention. And I think ESPN and other networks that he's in business with are compromised because that sport means a lot to them.
Yeah, a lot of revenue. That's true. Yeah, I mean they definitely. But I feel like at least like where is Sean King or where is like this the griot? You know,
I mean, to be honest with you, they've been on other stuff.
yeah,
There's been some racial things. Sean stuff, and Sean's great. Sean's great at bringing to light things that we need to know.
Hey, he be getting results.
Yes.
He be like if he put you on his Instagram, say who is this guy?
They better than the police department when it comes to that.
Shout out Sean King, man.
Yeah, so definitely, that whole situation is weird because here's what I say: if that was anybody else, and any athlete, if that was
Definitely.
LeBron, or if that was AD, or
Smacking
that
up his
was
wife,
yeah, come
that would
on,
be-
like it would be everywhere, and he'd be vilified.
I just and then they came out like this. That should never. She said that has never happened before. I'm like,
Yeah.
It looked like y'all been
Hey,
having that.
if you laying hands on a woman and at the club,
Particularly-
it
yes,
ain't your
at the
first
club.
time.
Yes, at the
you
club.
you slapping a woman at the club, it ain't your first time.
That was very reactionary too. It was like, oh, what?
Yeah, like in public, that means that I do this.
Yeah. I
Like,
definitely.
and I dare any of y'all to say something.
yeah, I'm the you finna act to be the $1 million baby tonight.
Yeah.
You about to get this real work.
So
And then it didn't look like this. People were all like really all at surprised. They just like broke it up and
yeah, like I do this.
Yeah.
like when they get into it all the time.
they had it again.
Yeah.
That Dana, he just smacked up again.
Now I don't listen. I don't know that guy. I don't like him.
No, I'm not a fan of Dana White. Obviously respect.
And I don't support his sport. I don't watch his sport.
I still don't get it.
Yeah.
I just don't get the whole bar fight thing.
Yeah, it's like
it's
and I
more
think there's-
technique. I'm like, this shit like a bar
I
fight.
think there is a lot of technique, but it is when it's all said and done. It's like I've seen dudes do that outside the bar.
I've seen fights in the club,
Yeah.
and it looks very similar. Like, yeah,
Tapping
we're
out.
going to sleep.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Eye gouging, twisting of the nuts.
Let me give you my last one. So, okay, I got two. So I'm gonna go back to back, and I'll make it brief.
Cool.
I want to send to hell anybody. I'm sending them.
This is not how the game is played. You got to
Okay,
say, and
all
then we
right.
get to say.
All right, I would say, all right, heaven or hell,
Like,
heaven or
like,
hell.
you already, hey, hell, this person's going to hell. Let me tell you
To
what.
any media member, anybody with a podcast, YouTube show, or athlete that decided when Russell Wilson had a decline in his play to begin personal attacks on him, his wife, his way of life. Like, and this one for me is a little bit more serious. I felt like the criticism of him went out of bounds.
It always has to me.
You know what I mean? Like it went like
Even
if you
back
want
in Seattle.
yeah, if you want to criticize a dude because of the way he's playing and okay, maybe that's fair. And I even think a lot of that was on the coach. And that's why since the coach has been gone, you've seen him look more like Russ, putting points on the board. They had 28, beat Chargers this past weekend. But aside from that, when guys start talking about, him and his wife think they this, why are you talking about this man's wife? And not just because I know her, she's a friend of mine, but like at the end of the day, anybody knows that wives, children, out of bounds. Like you learn that the minute you get married, you don't really speak on nobody else's situation. And I saw dudes going on podcasts, going on shows, and leading with that. I'm sending all them dudes.
No, I think they do need to go to hell. Yeah, so you led with that correct. Y'all going to hell. And I think for a guy, I guess if it always felt a little weird, like, are y'all jealous of this guy? What's the problem? Because the only thing I've ever seen him do is, at least, and what I mean seen, is he be at the hospitals. He be praying. Y'all don't like the Let's Ride? Okay, fine. You make fun of him for that. Yeah. But, he's always leading folks in prayer. You see him on the sidelines after every loss. He's always saying the right things. And is it a situation where you just don't like, the fact that he holds himself to a high standard and seemingly is holier than thou, whatever. But I haven't seen anything that has been out of bounds. I haven't seen, to me, he's leading himself to be leading a life like an exemplary athlete, somebody that I want my son to obviously marrying Sierra, she already had one child, and making that a family.
Yeah, making it weird.
And then they created their own family. Yeah. And I think that's just something that I think we could all, at least all appreciate.
He was even criticized for that pretty heavily, that he was doing too much by trying to make what they had functional and non-toxic. Because it could have ended up being really weird, because blending families, I haven't ever had to deal with that, but I've seen it and I know it. Blending families is difficult.
Sure.
And it takes a lot of people working together. And I think as a dude, it's always hardest for the man to make that adjustment. It's easy for women to go, well, you a mother, I'm a mother, and we got that. But for a man to come in and embrace a family atmosphere,
that's doing too much.
People saying it's doing too much was super weird.
So you always hear about the black man not doing enough.
Right.
He's doing too much.
Yeah. It's like, come on. So my issue with them is that,
may they all burn.
May they. And then my last one is a guy that I actually liked a lot, and I still like a little bit, but I got to put him at least in the segment. My man Skip Bayless took a lot of heat for. I'm gonna try to help him with this. I think he was at a time when people were literally worried about this man's life, was trying to have a conversation about football on Twitter. And everybody called him on it. Every athlete, every former athlete, current player, they were calling him on it. And the thing, like, okay, you messed up. And 23 minutes later, he retracted it on Twitter. That got no play.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Right. But then the next day, he's not walking it back on the show. Like, when you have everybody's attention and you have a chance to, like, really just lay on the sword and go, man, when I sit back and looked at it, I was tripping. Let's reset. Let me send my apologies. He got into it with Shannon about, well, I'm not going to take it down and I'm not going to walk it back. And it's like, at some point, Skip, you got to come off the shtick. Like, and I think for some of us who, like, now I'm not like the biggest Skip fan, but I like the show and I like the format. And it's sort of, Skip and Stephen A., when they were together, they were sort of the inspiration for what a lot of us are doing, like, podcasts, and we gonna come in here and
debate,
have our debates and all that. They were, he's the grandfather of the debate show.
Definitely.
But I think he went too far.
He definitely went too far. And I think that it seems, and I'm wondering, because there's a certain level of entertainment that's there between him and Shannon, but it seems like it's past that. It seems like there's some real, I hope I'm wrong, real tension.
No, because they had got into it about a week and a half, 2 weeks
about
prior.
the whole Tom Brady thing,
And that
him
felt
saying-
really real.
Well, it did, and so I'm wondering. And Shannon doesn't seem to be putting on any airs. You know, I think that it seemed to be pretty real. We did attack him personally, and
Yeah.
it seems there's been I don't want to say a downward spiral, but definitely the energy's gotten weird between them two, and I don't know if it's just Skip sort of. Is he at the end? I'm not saying he's mailing it in, but I think that it's definitely something. It doesn't feel the same. Everybody that I know that follows sports really loves that show.
Yeah.
It is one. I mean, it may be Fox Sports Keystone, their program,
The cornerstone show.
cornerstone
Yeah.
program, and I think that I hope that they can sort of, because I started out not liking Skip at all when he was on ESPN. I thought that he was a little race baity. And
I actually never thought that.
but
about him.
I've come around. I don't think that he's that way at all. Now the funny part is, very few people have come around. If you go on Instagram or Twitter,
But to me, that's lazy.
yeah, people still think I'm like, he's not that way at all.
Listen,
I mean, he backed Kaepernick.
Yeah.
During when all that stuff was
Yeah.
going on, and him and Shannon seem to agree, have pretty much straight down the line as it relates to some of those issues.
Social
Social correct, yeah, social issues. So it just, I hope that they get it back. I hope that they work it out.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is interesting with, because obviously Stephen A. and Skip went their separate ways. They had to do what's best for him, so Skip went to Fox. But when Stephen A. got big and got control over at ESPN, and then obviously Skip, they gave him that sort of sense that this is your thing, and Stephen A., this is your thing. One of the things that's weird to me is that both of them give off this air of, to their co-hosts, like, this is my thing. Like, don't trip. They have those don't trip moments. And I don't like to see that. Like, debate it out. We know who you are. We know you, Skip. We know you, Stephen A. But both of them have those moments where they'll flex, like you on my show. And I think that's what Skip was doing to Shannon well after Shannon has proven himself.
Yeah, and
Shannon is formidable in his takes, in his approach, and he doesn't have to stand number two to anybody anymore. And if you're a good leader, you understand that man has ascended. And when he was putting him, it seemed like he was trying to put him in his place.
trying to sun him.
But trying to not sun him like in a barbershop or something, but like professionally remind him, which to me is worse.
And he lost all his professionalism in that moment.
Exactly.
And it was Shannon that reminded him, like, you're attacking me personally.
Just saying about the show.
Because
Yeah.
I'm talking about the way a guy's playing.
Yes.
So you attack me personally. And I think that, and it may be one of these things where, Shannon has gotten so good at making his counterpoint, that Skip felt a little,
challenged.
not only challenged, but didn't have a good response.
Right.
Like, you could challenge me, but okay, now I can offer my rebuttal. We can play point counterpoint, but he didn't have a good one.
Right.
And I think he just went he just kind of lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just went. He hit the not the self-destruct button, but he hit he broke the glass and
just blah.
Yeah,
I'm out.
yeah.
Nah, like it wasn't a good moment for Skip. Skip had a bad sort of month, and maybe he's one of those guys that can go and potentially come back with some redemption, but he needs to start to soften it up a little bit.
I would definitely pull it back, and I think there needs to be some sort of acknowledgement, at least on his end, because they've always seemed to, hey, if they've made an error, they've always seemed to at least take time out in the show to say, be at least hold themselves
Like
accountable
reset.
and reset it.
Yeah.
And I think that their chemistry obviously is one of the greatest of all time, them two going back and forth. And they have such good banter, particularly when it comes to LeBron and some other, Dallas Cowboys. And they do a really great job. And they'll go down as probably one of the best tandems in history, sports history anyway.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can work it out.
It's just a shame that
But things come to an end.
Yeah. And
Shannon with his podcast.
Yeah.
What do they call it? What was it called?
Club Shay Shay. Yeah.
That thing's taking off,
Yeah,
and he's getting all the guests.
He's getting great
And he's
guests.
good
the
by
interviews-
himself.
Yeah, and the interviews are good. So, so I've always liked those guys. I like the show, but be careful, Skip.
Yeah,
be careful.
Especially with Shannon.
Yeah,
he take
because
his glasses off.
Yeah, you might get the hands put on you. He still lift weights. Well, listen, man, thank you. This is a good time for us to break. I'm excited to talk NBA with you next week, Rob. Welcome back. Happy New Year, all that good stuff.
Welcome back.
Congratulations to your Bulldogs.
Hey, it's his birthday.
Well, it's not going to be when we put it out.
It's his birthday. It'll be timestamped. So y'all make sure you listen to this. We should have led with that. Y'all hit us for Mark, DM the show, stat lines. Hey, everybody. Happy birthday.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Like always.
Oh, just try to move right past that.
We're going to move right past it. Please, go when you go to YouTube to wish me happy birthday, also hit subscribe, hit like. And
make a promo out of that,
and get the notifications.
So we could get, things won't be at the end of the show. It's his birthday.
And hit the notification bell so you can get notified on when we're doing all types of stuff on here. And follow us across all social media platforms at Statlines Matter. Everywhere you would be on social media. So for my partner, Rob Hunter, I'm Marquis Stewart. This is Statlines Matter.
Bad boy. I ain't come for games. Say it to my face. Say it to my face. I ain't come for games. Say it to my face. Say it to my face.